Training for your next big race and not sure about your nutrition? Well, Precision Fuel and Hydration are sponsoring the show this month, and their free online planner has you covered. It calculates exactly how much carbs, sodium and fluid you need to smash your goals. Me and the team at Inside Running Podcast swear by the 90-gram resealable gel to have on our long runs. It's been a game changer for us. If you want to crush your race day strategy, hit the link in the show notes, try the planner and grab 15% off your first order with the code IR-SPRING2025. That's IR-SPRING2025. Hit the link, grab your discount and crush those goals. Now on to the episode.
Welcome to episode 399 of the Inside Running Podcast. Brady won't be joining us this week as he's preparing for his trip to Paris, where he'll be trackside for Faith Kipyegon's sub 4-minute mile attempt. We've got a big name replacing him, and I'm also joined by the man who back in 2015 finished 10th at both Sydney's iconic City to Surf and Adelaide's City Bay. It's the one and only Julian Spence. Welcome, Moose. How are you?
Wow. Okay, that's good stuff from you.
You're on the circuit back in 2015, travelling around a bit.
Yeah, well, I was healthy for the first time in ages, and I decided I'm going to go test out some of these iconic races we got around the trap. So I remember City to Bay, first time I'd really spent that much sort of time in Adelaide, and stayed with Chicken. I think Izzy, you probably know Chicken. He had the running company there, and we went up, and I didn't realise it was point to point. Like that was sort of threw me a little bit. Because it's a different sort of setup point to point. Like so much more organisation involved.
And downhill as well.
Oh yeah, I found that out. Like downhill, but then it plateaus. And so I went through 5K and like the fastest 5K I've ever run, and then all of a sudden just died. And I reckon one place in front or behind was Jacob Cox. I think behind me, but I'm because maybe earlier that year, he beat me at National Cross Country by a place. And I think perhaps I got him back at City to Bay. I reckon. He must have got better pretty quick because we weren't running real well back then.
Well, speaking of the Coxes, we should probably introduce our guest. Sort of maybe have given it away a little bit, Moose. But replacing Brady this week is two-time Olympian and the Australian half marathon and 10K road record holder. A big welcome back to the Inside Running Podcast, Izzi Batt-Doyle.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's good to be back on. Yep, City Bay, it's a great, iconic race in Adelaide, and can attest it is definitely downhill and very fast. You can get going quickly. I think I went through sub 31 for 10K last year, and that really pumped my confidence up that I could do it on the flat, but it's a different thing when it's an actual race and not just flying down a highway downhill.
And where are you joining us from, Izzy?
I am at the ASICS Chojo camp in Font-Romeu. So yeah, been up here for 5 weeks and I've got 3 weeks to go. So I've got like a 8-week stint up here in Font-Romeu. I love it here. I spent 7 weeks here in 2023 after Budapest before Valencia. And then this time around, it's my second time coming back here, but Melbourne Track Club as a group has come up here. So there's like a big house full of probably, 16 people here, but they're staying elsewhere, and I stay at the ASICS house because, I like my space. It's free to stay here. There's a lot of perks of being at the camp. Having a really good time.
And I was going to say it'd be rude not to congratulate you on your national 10K road record of 30:44 and a new 10,000 meter track PB of 30:51. Must be happy with how the international season has kicked off for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think this year, as a whole, has been pretty packed already. Like I reflected on it after Oslo, and I've raced 3K, 5K, 5K road, 10K, 10K road, half marathon, marathon. So like I've done pretty much every distance I can do already in like 4 or 5 months. But yeah, I was really happy with the run in Tokyo. It wasn't on my calendar as like an A race. I kind of was just like, oh, Nick, I've got to do this 10K because it's an ASICS thing and it fits in all right. And when I got there, I realized like the gravity of what the event was, how much was gone into it. I know most didn't enjoy watching it as much as some other races, he noted. It is a bit more of a time trial, not as maybe fun to spectate, but as a runner, it's pretty cool to get the opportunities where you can just run fast and focus on that. So I was really stoked to walk away with that time and to get a time that I felt was more representative of where I was at versus like what I'd done previously on the roads over those distances. And Oslo was probably a bigger like race earmarked in my calendar and probably wasn't as happy with the result, but all in all, like when I reflect on everything I put together, it's still a solid run and a step in the right direction. And to be honest, like the track is different. Mentally, it's a lot harder. Being in spikes, I find a lot harder. I respond well to the road shoes. I feel a bit more confident on the road. So to get to run under 31, like I'm really happy to get that. It's been a long time coming to improve my 10K track PB, but I'd be lying if I said, of course I wanted to be running the same time the Rose can run and running in the 30:30s and sort of dictating the race a bit more, not being a passenger off the back of the pack.
She keeps some receipts, Croaks, but
I
noticed that she's missed the one about you calling the course short.
So there were quite a few people I saw who's, I know Garmin is not, or GPS is not gold standard, but in most certified courses that I've seen around the world, they generally don't measure short. And there's quite a few 10 flat or 9.98.
Definitely. And I think you're right. Like normally when you have a race that's one sort of big loop or like not a point to point, but like a sort of a regular race that we see, you're going to get that 10 point something on your watch. And like you're looking to see that. And I understand sort of the response to that when you see that on Strava. I think what I have been aware of, I train at this place called Botanic Park in Adelaide, and it's a 1,844 meter loop, and it's marked out. And like I don't go off my watch because I know because I'm running, essentially a 2K loop over and over again. It gets a bit like scattered, like it kind of gets a bit lost where I actually am on the loop. And so that's why I'm fortunate that Grenville Wood is marked out every 100 and every K. And I just go to that when I'm doing my marathon training. I just sort of run to the markers because you can get the same instance of getting too much on your watch and also getting like a lesser amount on your watch because it's getting lost in that small situation.
The good thing is you backed it up with your track time and your road time. There's not much between them, so you've backed it up.
No, I was really happy with that. I think that was I was happy to get a time on the track that is like 7 seconds away from my road time. That kind of is like they're in the same realm of I feel like they do match up. And I'm someone that thinks I probably run better on the road, so it kind of makes sense. I'm a little bit quicker on the road.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't forget that one either.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus there, Moose.
It's a certified course. I'm not sure where the argument is. Can I just ask on that Tokyo race, it was obviously a bit of a publicity stunt for the shoes. So which shoe did you wear? And
I wore the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo. So essentially it's the 4th edition. And look, I've not tried the Ray. I got an early prototype of the Ray and was like, this is way too light. I'm just going to break the shoe in half. Didn't feel like it would like support me for anything. So I haven't even like bothered to try that. And then the Sky, I've got a pair, but I wear the Edge now. I like the way that you know more about it than me probably, but the Edge has the foam, the FF Leap soft foam in the middle and the stable foam FF Blast on the bottom. The Sky is the opposite way. So the stable foam in the middle and the soft foam on the base. And I feel that it makes the shoe a little less stable because the softer foam's on the bottom. So I think that's why I like the Edge, and why I would probably recommend the Edge to more people, because it feels like a more all-round stable shoe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. It's a good shoe. I still haven't worn it for anything over a 10K. Obviously, I made it pretty known that I had some issues in Valencia with the prototype. So
Well,
I'd
which
be
prototype was
definitely.
that? Because I don't think
It
you
was
told.
this prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the Edge or the Sky?
The Edge.
Yeah.
It was the Edge prototype. But now that I've talked to people in the shoe team and like had this launch where we've had the final product, I can understand what went wrong for me in Valencia. I wore the prototype when it was completely FF Leap. They had 2 layers of FF Leap. There was no FF Blast stable foam. However, because they were trying to make it look like the current shoe at the time, it was labeled as FF Blast on both all the foam. So I wasn't aware that it was this new foam. I just knew it was a prototype. Now, knowing that information, knowing that it was all this new soft FF Leap foam, it makes sense why it compressed so much. With me, just running the way that I run, I have pretty flat feet. I do internally rotate. So I really need that more stable foam. So I feel more comfortable now knowing that they've added back in that older FF Blast foam, but I still would like to do a bit more, like obviously training in them before I line up for a marathon. But they're fast, they feel really good, and yeah, definitely for a 10K they felt awesome.
And so in the spikes that you wore, is that Leap foam, FF Leap in your spikes?
I don't actually know. I haven't actually looked. It's the same spikes from last year though. They're not new. They're just a new colorway.
That's Leap then, but
Yeah,
that could be cool if that ever comes out.
yeah, for sure. Because I mean, spikes feel so aggressive to me now.
Yeah.
Izzy, last week Brady dropped some news that Sarah Klein had been added to our World Championship marathon team, but there's been nothing from AA to say who's dropped out of the team. Are you still planning on running the marathon at World Champs? If not, what are your plans?
Yeah, look, I haven't made a final decision on what I'm going to race at the World Championships in Tokyo. However, my intention is to race in Tokyo at the World Championships in some event. It's not clear where I'll line up yet. It looks like I'll be in the 10,000 meter rankings now after they've refreshed last week, but obviously that only came through on like Wednesday afternoon last week. I think I'm 25 out of 27, and I'm not sure how many other opportunities there are for 10K races in the world now for that to change too much. But obviously, it is cutting it a little bit fine at the end of the quota. So yeah, I'm racing a 5K in 3 weeks' time, and my intention would be to make a call on where things are sitting after that stage. So at this stage, I haven't actually withdrawn from the marathon team, but I'm working with the Athletics Australian team, obviously very closely as my season progresses and as things become clearer, what the best event for me to race in will be.
Yeah. Which 5K?
I'm doing Liège in Belgium, so it's actually where I qualified for Paris last year. So I've got very good memories of that track, and yeah, it's always a good meet. I think at my level, like I say my level, I have been to 2 Olympics in the 5K, but I don't see myself as being like the top tier sort of 5K runner. So Liège is a great option for me because I feel like I'm going to be more competitive in that race and be able to hopefully run a PB, but not be at the back of a Diamond League feeling like I'm, running too fast. Rose and Georgia are both doing the London Diamond League a couple of days later. So, Nick makes these decisions, and I just sort of believe that he's got our best intentions, like thinking of us as athletes. And I think that he's right. Like they probably need that maybe faster paced race to have a crack at what they're capable of. And for what I'm looking to run, I think Liège is a great option. So I'm excited for it.
How does that affect you financially to not go to a Diamond League, to go to a lesser meet?
To be honest, like doing a track season like this for me, I am taking a financial step down from what I could be doing on the roads. Obviously, we saw in Launceston, Jess had a really nice payday with $9,000, and usually athletes, we have bonuses in our contracts for winning races like that too. So there's opportunity to earn a lot more money doing those road races. If I was just trying to pay off my home loan, I'd be staying in Australia and doing some of the domestic races, but I'm still just trying to get better as an athlete, and I still feel like I've got a long career ahead of me. So mostly my decisions aren't based on sort of like financial incentives, but it doesn't really change too much. I think whether you're doing a Diamond League or a race like Liège, for me, the travel is going to be covered regardless of those two races. I'd be in a race hotel. If I was in a Diamond League, at best, I reckon it pays down to 12th. You might get $500 US. And if you come 12th, and maybe I come 4th or 5th in Liège and get €500, who knows? It could work out to be better. So yeah, it's a bit of a muchness, I think, for someone at my level. But yeah.
Should we hear about Izzy's training week after her 30-51 10K?
Is that Font-Romeu?
Yeah, it will be.
Were you recovered from that, or is it better to do a week where you're going all out?
No, this was like a really solid week. Yeah, I would say
about 180K, wasn't it?
Yeah. The week just finished yesterday. Because the race was Wednesday, so we kind of had like a couple of easy days to recover. Cool. And then got back into it from Saturday. So
it's like a month of running for Moose and I, 180K.
Yeah.
All right, take us through Monday then.
Yeah, so I'd come back to Font-Romeu on the Friday night. So I'd been back here since Saturday. So yeah, Monday morning can
I just cut in? I want to know more. Yeah. Like, I got questions about Font-Romeu. So how far from an airport is it? Is it like a ski resort, or what does it look like?
So Font-Romeu is it's at 1,800 meters. It is in the Pyrenees, so it's in the mountains here. It really is, to me, it's a great combination between like Hoyos and St. Moritz, because it's rough terrain, it's a ski kind of town. It's not as big and sort of ritzy as St. Moritz, but it's definitely not as small and isolated as Hoyos. It's a nice in between. There's supermarkets and a couple of coffee shops and all that. In Font-Romeu, you definitely need to have a car to get around. Where we stay in the town, we don't run from the door. We drive to the runs. So normally it's 10 minutes away for sort of the easy run double, 5 minutes to the track, and 20 minutes down to the lake. We do threshold and long run at the lake. You drop down to about 1,550 meters elevation. But it's just to get really beautiful around the lake there, and more trails, forest, flat running too. So, but yeah, it's like a ski town, I'd say. Yeah, everyone here is super active. Like in the summer, they're out on the roads, like skiing on like road skis. People are running, people are hiking. Like, it's just a really active place. So that's a bit of
pretty affluent.
Yeah, I would say so.
So you feel pretty at home?
Excuse me. Says you.
I got told about this house that you live in, and I heard it's an absolute mansion in the best part of town in Adelaide.
What about your kitchen, Moose? Your kitchen's been on social media all around the country.
I bought a dump. I didn't buy a mansion.
Well, when we bought our house, we had 3 non-working toilets, so it's not a luxury.
Well, you get that when you're buying in the. I'm not sure what the best part of Adelaide is. I just know it's where you are.
Keep digging.
Suburbs, yeah. I don't think I can get myself out of this. Anyway, back to Font-Romeu. It's not a life of luxury here, living out of a suitcase, sharing a kitchen with a bunch of people. But look, it's a good life. I love it. And I do look forward to going back to my nice house at home and feeling more comfortable. But I'm enjoying myself in Font-Romeu for the time being. But yeah, in terms of the airport, we're like 2 hours from Barcelona and 2.5 hours from Toulouse. So, but the interesting thing about Font-Romeu is that you actually drive, like, there's a little town called Livia, which is like Spain. Spain's like held onto it, even though like we're in France here. So you're kind of driving through Spain and France and don't really know what country you're in. And like you can drive down to dinner 15 minutes away and have dinner in Spain. But that's just Europe. I was in 3 countries in one day.
So do you hire a car
last week?
Like does everyone just rent a car themselves? Or?
So in terms of like our group, like we have like I don't have a car with me at the camp, but we hire like 3 or 4 cars as a group, and then like everyone just kind of like drives them around, and like Nick pays for up front, and then we get invoiced on our statement like for a portion of it. So it works out to be pretty good.
Hmm.
But yeah, you need a car up here, unless at the Asics house they have a shuttle, and it like there's someone that drives like a van twice a day to the run spots. So when I was here on my own last time, I didn't have a car, and I just relied on the ASIC shuttle, and that was fine. But anyway, back to the training week.
And does
Got
anybody
sidetracked.
do the rest of the MTC crew give you any crap for not staying with them and doing your own sort of thing?
Not really, occasionally, but it's come to be a normal thing. Like in Falls Creek, I don't stay with the group either. I stay on my own, and it's not that I don't like the group. I get on with everyone in the group. But we spend enough time together at training that during the day, often I am doing some work, sort of potentially live a bit of a different lifestyle at times to some other people. And it's just worked out that way. Like my parents were members of a lodge in Falls Creek, so it was cheaper for me to stay there than stay with the group. And then here, it's like a no-brainer not to stay at the ASICS camp. I get a free pass to the gym and track. I get a massage once a week here. I get a room to myself. And get to meet other athletes from all over the world who are part of Team ASICS that, I feel like it's an invaluable experience to just sort of, not take this opportunity.
Moose, is this side group thing that you were talking about last week?
Oh,
Nah.
no. I'm with Izzy here. I'd be getting out of that house with 15 people.
I'd be
It
doing,
sounds
I'd be
like an
doing the same.
absolute nightmare.
I agree. I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, back to Monday.
Yeah, so Monday we actually we went and checked out a different trail this day. It was Sondre Moen leading the charge. This was actually a bit of a side quest day where the group, for once, split in half. It was like people going to go check out this trail with Sondre leading, or they want to go run like a flatter run. And I was just kind of like, I'm down to try something new. So I went with the guys. I went with Sondre, Adam Goddard, and it would have been Matt Ramsden. It was. We ran at a place where you can run up to 2,100 meters elevation. So it's actually a spot up here that like Bashir Abdi like apparently always runs up there because it's the higher elevation. And so we started a car park and just run like along an uphill road. Then you hit sort of the peak that you can run at, which is must be like 2,200. Do a little loop. We did 2 loops of up there and then ran back down. So it was a fairly like hilly run in my book. It was 13 Ks, 1 hour, 266 meters elevation, but you're just climbing like pretty much 25 minutes straight at the start of the run. Then you're kind of coasting and then coming back downhill. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's beautiful views up there. It's gorgeous everywhere we run here. Then
anytime you see ski lifts on a map, you know it's pretty hilly.
Yeah, yep. And then in the afternoon, this is something that I only added in as of this week. Normally I just do an 8K double, but I'm joining the group to do strides again. I hadn't done strides since pre-Paris last year with that camp. And I've also talked about having hamstring issues in the past. And so strides have always been kind of a hard thing for me to add in, just more intensity. But finally, like my hamstrings under control. I've built back to 3 sessions a week now. And so adding strides in feels like the right time to do it when I'm trying to get faster for the 5K again. So yeah, around about 5Ks, did 4x150 strides in spikes after doing some drills. I have no idea what times these mean, but I'll be trying to improve them tonight on my strides 2.0. So did like 24, 23, 23, 23, and then just did 10 minutes of jogging to get to 8K. But they felt good. I'm keen to work on strides, actually.
I think so. You don't do any strides after any runs back in Adelaide,
I haven't. No, yeah, I haven't. Maybe like once or twice, possibly. But I just feel like I do need to get back into it if I'm going to keep trying to get faster. And I think that it's good for everyone anytime just to do strides. But it's not been something that I've been frequent at.
I would say that when you're on a training camp and there's really not a lot like dragging you back to the house, and you can just stop your run, do some drills, have a bit of a chill out, it just feels so much easier when you don't like go, oh fuck, I got an email to get back to, I got to get to work.
Yeah.
It's just, it comes.
I do find at home, I'm normally like finishing my run and I have to be somewhere like I've finished and there's people there talking to me, or you have to go to an appointment. It's just kind of like, it's easy just to be like, oh, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But that evening I did just a 27-minute 4 runners Pilates class. And then in the morning we had a track session. So the track here is at 1800. It's actually like kind of the highest point of the town, and which makes track sessions pretty hard here. We did a 20-minute warm-up. It's pretty average jogging around the track. You can't exit the gates. So you have to just do laps of the track and then like laps of a little field. So it does become quite loopy for the warm-up and warm-down. So 20-minute warm-up. We're doing a thing where we do 2 by 200 at like 35 seconds before the session, just as a little primer. And I think that's really good for me too. I actually, this day, normally I split my watch, like I save the warm up, and then I go track mode for the track session. And for some reason, I think the 200s threw me off. And then we were about to start the session, and I was like, oh shit, like I haven't saved my watch. But it was too late, so I just had to do it all as one on not track mode, which irritated me a little bit. But
it doesn't look like anyone
it's all good.
Did that. Everyone...
no one else does it. Everyone else does it as one.
Brady's coach will be really impressed that you've kept it all as one. You get a green tick from Dan Nash.
Okay.
That's a good
photo.
Session... A great photo that you got.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the photo?
The photo of
you and Rose.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Thomas. So the session on this day was 1200, 30 seconds rest, 400 by 5. And then 2 fast 400s at the end in spikes with like 3 minutes recovery. So for this session, we had Georgia joining us for 3 sets, Sarah joining us for 4 sets, and we also had Paul Robinson, who you probably know, retired Irish runner, but he's working for Nick now as a manager as well, and he's doing a bit of like just trying to help with pacing on this camp. So this is a good session. We did 1200s. The pace was supposed to be 77s, and then the 467. And to be honest, these were much more generous paces. We'd had 2 or 3 track sessions that were like really hard. Like I would have expected the 1200s to be 75s. So when I heard 77s, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of slow. But the intention of the session for me was like try and focus on the 400s, because I can always run 77s or 75s, but I want to run fast. So the first set was a bit slow. We were 351 and then 69, and then we got into our groove and were 351, 67, 352, 67, 350, 66. I led that one actually on that 400, and then we were 351, and then I also led this 400 and we were 65. That one was the 5th set, and so we'd lost Sarah and we'd lost Georgia already, and it was just myself and Rose, but she was a bit tired and she fell off was a bit behind in this rep, and then she came back, but I was kind of leading, which I was not anticipating to be leading the 400s, and I was like, okay, I got to step up and lead these 400s.
I noticed Jude didn't have the camera out when you were leading, Rose.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then so we had 2 fast 400s at the end. I led the first one, and it was 62 on Nick's timing. I was a bit off on my lapping, and then Rose rallied as she always can do, and she led the last one, and we were 61, and that was actually a 400 PB for me. So I was really happy with that, and they felt good.
I reckon,
what sort of adjustment do you make for the altitude in terms of like those 400s at 67? Like what would they be at sea level?
It's so hard to compare, because for me, I only do grass track sessions normally when I'm home, and it's really usually like a maintenance phase or just like doing track to keep some speed in the legs while doing other training. So I'm always running faster altitude, because that's the point of the season where I am faster and I'm preparing for faster races. So it's really hard for me to compare. But Rose kind of said that like there's not much adjustment like compared to the paces that she does at home. Her coach Scotty does give her more rest than probably than Nick would give. So she's kind of hitting faster paces more regularly, but probably getting a bit more rest on those sessions. But yeah, I think it's hard to compare. Like, yeah, we're doing some pretty hard sessions here. Like these 1200s, they felt pretty like not easy, but just it was really focusing on running fast and then a really short recovery and going again.
Yeah, I think there was once a discussion around when someone bails out of a session and then comes back in the end and adjusts everybody about how that's like a taboo, or like we don't.
Same thing when you train in a group and a person does not lead any rep until the last rep and then blast everybody. Can't do that either.
Yeah. There are some track rules, but no, it was where I'm so lucky to be training with a group where we can help each other in different ways, and I'm always looking for a pull on a fast rep. So I was glad to get that for the last one for sure. But I was also happy to show myself that I could also do a fast 400 leading and on my own too, which was nice to get that confidence. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like we'd done a session a week before where the 1200s were 75, 72, 75. So to go and run 77s felt like pretty controlled. But I would say that Nick does give us more recovery at altitude than we do normally. So yeah, it might be, instead of a minute, it might be 75 seconds between a rep, or, when we're jogging a lap, instead of being back at 2:15, we might take 3 minutes. So it's a little more flexible in that sense. And then, yeah, cool down 20 minutes. So that's the morning session. That afternoon I did gym. So I've been trying to be consistent with getting back in the gym. I do find that hard with traveling and racing and all that. So an hour of strength training and then into an AK double with the group, 35 minutes. We had a big group for that run. And then Wednesday, this was a bit of a funny run. We went back to the same place where we ran Monday, but took a little bit of a different route on the road. And yeah, I think Sondre was leading us on this one too. And there are a few complaints afterwards that it was just too hilly for an easy Wednesday recovery run. And I think not just the uphill, we had a few sections where it was just quite rocky. And, when you're tired after a track session, it's just the legs feel heavy and it's easy to roll an ankle. And I'm not sure we'll be going back here on a Wednesday, but just did 14 Ks. It was 65 minutes and 303 meters elevation. But yeah, it was just a few sections I really enjoyed it, and it was quite beautiful. And I feel like I've got more comfortable just, I'm happy just to run easy when it's hilly. But yeah, it was just sort of a bit more of it wasn't such a like easy recovery run for after a hard track session.
Especially when you're doing 3 sessions a week and you got to get up again the next day.
Yeah, that's it. It is like not much recovery. I did an easy double on the afternoon, 8Ks, just under 36 minutes. And then I did Pilates again that day, 30-minute Pilates on the Forerunners online. And then Thursday we do threshold at the lake. So yeah, I mentioned you drop down to 1,500 meters for this session. We do it around like a 3.4K road loop, which is essentially like a little bit of flat, an uphill section for about 800 meters, bit of flat, and then some downhill. So you have to kind of get used to running this loop, because you can jog it and think, oh, it's not too bad. But then when you're actually running a bit harder and you're at altitude, the hill does creep up on you, and every lap the hill sort of does feel a little bit harder as you sort of build that fatigue. I've done marathon training here though, so I've kind of gotten used to what the loop's like and how to sort of run to effort here. So 20-minute warm up, couple strides, and then 3x12. We usually just run these now on our own. Like I'll put a heart rate strap on and just, I know the effort and sort of the gauge that I need to run, and so does everyone else. So we were running this all solo. So I did 12 minutes at 3:21 pace, 12 minutes at 3:19 pace, and then 12 minutes at 3:19 pace. I find here my heart rate only really gets to like 165 which is probably 5 beats lower than what I could do at sea level. I've heard that's sort of normal. But it feels like the right effort. And look, I wouldn't want to be running any faster, really.
Pretty good
I did a couple
workout.
of weeks. Yeah, I did a couple of weeks. I ran 3:16 for one of my 12-minute chunks the other week, and I've done a few 3:18s. But I'm trying to control this a little more, because I feel like threshold running is my strength. And what does it really matter if I can whack a 12-minute threshold rep? Like, it's better just to run it to the right sort of effort and feel like you could do another one afterwards. Is the intention that I want to walk away from this
Certainly
session.
not. Like, do you, other than training at altitude, like, do you do many hilly tempo sessions, or most of your tempo sessions are on the flat, I'd imagine?
Yeah, really flat normally. So it is it's a different feeling. Like, on the third rep, you do get to the hill and you're like, whew. But it's only, it's over in a couple of minutes. And I just don't look at my pace at all, because if I looked at my pace, I'd see 3:40 going up the hill, and I'd, probably freak out. But if I just look at the overall, my heart rate and the overall pace across the whole 12 minutes, then that's a better indication.
So do you do this because it's your heart rate you're going to, but do you
Yeah.
run this with Rose?
No, we start together, and we have done a few of these thresholds together, but we've kind of found that she runs the first one a bit slower and then sort of gets to that 3:20 pace for the next two, whereas I just kind of go from the get-go at the same pace and just hold it. But we may in the future. It just kind of worked out that we haven't as much recently.
I think that's good, though, that you do your own thing, because I reckon that's one of the downfalls of group sessions, is that often everyone tries to stay together, and that's great for the fittest and fastest person in the group. Everybody else is overtraining, try and keep up.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's good to know when to get the help with the training partners, and when to know it's just best that you might run your own effort. And it's hard for me. Like, Rose has gone and beat me by 17 seconds in a race, so like I'm feeling like I shouldn't be running faster than her, but that's just how we train, and we're different athletes with different strengths.
Good to dust her on that one. She got one win, you got a win on Tuesday.
I reckon it's better if I'd prefer to be winning in the race, but
take any win you can get. That's well.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. That afternoon we did another exploratory run. Actually, one of the girls who's joined our group up here is British, and her dad came fifth at the Olympics in the marathon. And he was running with us, and he took us out on this trail. It's like a Paula Radcliffe's trail. Anyway, I don't even think we found the right trail. We ran up a ski slope. There was 61 meters of elevation in 1K around a 5:26. And look, I wasn't complaining, but I was internally like, oh, I'm pretty tired from like the session this morning, run yesterday. Don't really want another uphill, but that was 8.2Ks at 4:45 pace.
Who's the marathon runner?
His name's Richard. I don't know how to say his last name. It's Nurka, like Neurukar.
Which Olympics?
Which Olympics?
That's gonna really test me. Like 1980, late 80s. No, 90. 90. Must be 90. Sorry, 90. Yeah.
No, there was 92 or 96 or 88.
Yeah. I reckon 90, maybe 96. 96.
I'll find out.
I think it was Atlanta.
We'll go Atlanta. That was a tough marathon.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, it is. He ran 2:13.39 for 5th place.
2:13.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
It was hot.
Like, I know it was really difficult down there.
Yeah,
really.
It was less than a minute behind bronze.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, no, he was a really good athlete, and still obviously fit. His daughter, her name's Almy. She's at college at the moment at Georgetown, but she's just joined us for 3 weeks training here. So that's been cool to meet him. And I love seeing people who were like professional runners, super good, and are still in their 60s, like running, and loving being part of the sport in a different way. So yeah, that's the cool part of traveling and meeting people.
That's great.
Hey,
that's correct.
Another interesting stat: he beat Mona by 2 spots.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, Mona was, what was he?
Well, seventh,
Oh,
obviously.
No, you were 7th, but yeah, time-wise, just done 54 seconds behind him.
Yeah.
That is good stat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a very accomplished runner, but yeah, he was the one leading us up the hill. And Eilish McColgan just put her head in, just a little name
Good
drop.
name drop.
What,
Massive
now?
name
Yeah.
drop.
Just now?
Just now, yeah,
Oh.
just now.
She probably heard of Croaks. Ask her if she's heard.
yeah.
Say Croaks is on the line.
Keen for an interview sometime?
Yeah, get her on. So that was the afternoon double, and then I did another Pilates class. Yeah. That evening, 30 minutes, but that was a recovery Pilates, like mobility. And then finally on Friday, we ran a flatter trail. We went out and back, and yeah, it was an hour, 13.3 Ks, 4:33 pace. And I think the elevation was only 190. So that was a bit nicer. It was more flat and just one hill on the way back. But we were all quite happy with that after, a little bit of elevation in the week. And then I did a double that afternoon, linked up with some of the New Balance Manchester group. So Andrew Crossgren is like part of that group now. So ran with Tanner Nuttall, James West, Elise Thorner, some of the British runners. Then I did Pilates again that evening, 30 minutes. And Saturday morning, we had a session that I've come to really enjoy, and it's a combination of threshold and hills. So we do 2K threshold on the track, then sort of jog up to the hill, which is probably like, I don't know, 100 meters away, do 4 by hill. The hill is like 220 meters. It's just sort of like what we could work with where we're at. I think Nick would probably do anything from 250 to 300, depending on what the hill looked like, and then come back down to the track, 2K threshold again, back do 4 hills, and then 2K threshold. So yeah, you're doing 6K worth of threshold reps and 4 hills. I try and treat the hills more like just focusing on my form, and like you do produce some lactate running, especially a hill at altitude, and it's quite a sharp pinch at the top of this hill. So yeah, certainly like it's painful, but there's enough recovery in the session that I don't feel like this is a really hard session. I feel like it's just one of those sort of tick the box training sessions. So yeah, 5K warm up, 2 by 200 in 34, and then 2K thresh at 6:39. The 220 meter hills were all 46 to 45, with about 90 seconds jogging back down. Then another 2K threshold, 6:40, same with the hills, and then finished off the last 2K in 6:41. So yeah, it was a good session, a fair bit of volume there still. And we'd done this session 2 weeks ago, and we ran about 2 seconds a rep faster on the hills this time around. So that was a nice improvement. We had Paul Robinson and Jimmy Whelan, who's a former pro cyclist turned triathlete who's been a bit injured, helping us out, just leading the 2K threshold. So I honestly didn't lead anything for this session because the guys wanted to lead the threshold, and then which is what I usually lead, and then Rose leads the hills. So I think I led like 1.5 laps of this whole session. So it was pretty chill.
And how much recovery would you be getting in terms of minutes between the threshold and starting the first hill, and then finishing the last hill and starting the threshold?
I would say probably less than 90 seconds. Yeah. 300. Oh, actually, I did leave this on. Yeah. 300. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
About 300 meters, 2 minutes. So we just jog sort of 6-minute K pace. It says just jog back down to the track and then get going as soon as possible.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a good session. I like that. Like, I feel like you can really get rid of the lactate produced from the hill at that pace. Like, we're running 80-second laps. It's not, it's the same as what I run for 12-minute threshold rep at the lake. It's not hard, but it's still tiring you out enough that it's a good combination. So then did an 8K double that afternoon, 36 minutes. And then was that it for that day? Yeah, had a massage that day as well, which is nice. And I was actually going to go to the gym that evening, and then there was a group going out for dinner in a nearby town to get pizza, and I thought, you know what, I should leave a little. So I skipped the gym and I went and had pizza and a wine. And it was great. So that was a nice end to the Saturday. And Sunday morning we did I did a 2-hour long run. So the week before we'd run as a whole group, like a massive loop, like all together. And for some reason, like this morning, everyone just kind of like within like the first like K, we all kind of like split into different like small groups, and we weren't like at the lake. You can kind of run in any direction, like into the forest, around the lake, whatever. And so the group that turned into the group that I ran with was Rose, Jack, Rayner, Emil Danielson, who's a Swedish runner in our group, and Brian Fay. And yeah, it was a good group. We did a really nice loop. I took them into the forest, into a bit of an add-on that I'd done a couple of years ago with some Spanish runners. And yeah, it was just nice. I did 2 hours, they did an hour 45, so just a little bit solo at the end. 28.3 Ks, 4:16 average. So like not hard, but you know, a decent run. And we had 240 meters elevation, which was, yeah, I felt like a really nice amount. Yeah, it was pretty flat. Like we'd gone probably 350 the week before. So this loop was a bit more like in the forest along like a flat trail on the river that's like a little bit rocky. But yeah, just so beautiful. And this is probably one of my favorite long runs I've done, I would say. And then, yeah, because I missed gym the night before, I went and did Sunday Arvo gym. Actually took Sonia O'Sullivan with me for a gym partner, so that was pretty good. And yeah, that was the week. That was 178 Ks of running, 178.8, 2,000 meters and 2,020 meters elevation. So I look back and it was my third time ever over 2,000. I got 2 weeks back in Hoyos last year at 2,100, 2,200. Yeah, 2 gym sessions, 3 Pilates sessions. Pretty good.
It's a good week because when you look at, you know, like the mileage is good on its own, but then you dig deeper and you go, okay, well, that sort of mileage with the over 2,000 meters of elevation adds another element of, I suppose, stress and how impressive the week is. And then you go into actual individual sessions, and you know, one of your sessions there was well, actually, probably 2 of your sessions there were fairly high quality with the hills and the 1200s and 400s. So like, ticked a lot of boxes.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think that like this actually is a really good. This is not a singular week on its own. This is actually what normal training weeks for me look like on training camp. Like we've had a few interrupted weeks with races and such, but this is like the sort of typical week that you'd see us doing, whether it's here, Hoyos, yeah, wherever we are. So yeah, it's a solid week, and yeah, I love it. I mean, it's hard work. It's not easy. Like I wake up every morning and I won't lie, like I am tired. My ankles are sore. I don't always want to go and do that another gym session or Pilates, but it all adds up, and I do feel like I'm building a really strong foundation.
All right, Moose, over to you. Beat that.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I wouldn't complain too much about waking up in Font-Romeu and having to get out at 9 a.m. for a jog in the sun.
True.
With your buddies. Because that ain't happening over here. And, I mean, I don't deserve to be there doing that. You've earned your way there. But I do honestly enjoy it so much, and like that's why I'm doing it, because I know that there'll be a time in my life, like I'm away for 4 months. It is hard. I miss Riley, I miss my dog, I miss home, but I know that you know, one day I'll look back on these times and say I was so lucky to be waking up at, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning, no kids, you know, running in the sun with my friends. So I know these are the good days, so I'm trying to enjoy it. Yeah, good way to be. Don't, because like, I mean, it's running. You could have a bloody career-ending Achilles injury that just, you know, like you've seen so many careers end early.
Yeah, exactly.
It's yeah.
If you're listening, the chances are you're gearing up for a race, but how dialed in is your race day nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration makes it simple with a free online planner to calculate your carb, sodium and fluid needs for peak performance. Their product, like the 90-gram resealable gel, helps you hit your numbers with ease. That's why legends like 4-time Olympian Lisa Waitman and ultra runner Hayden Hawkes trust them too. Head to the link in the show notes to create your personalised strategy and then use code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order. Or if you're a Patreon supporter, grab your exclusive 20% off discount code from our member-only episodes. Time to level up your performance. Click the link now. Now back to the episode.
All right, I took Monday off this week because I was
Good start.
Good start, Moose. Good week. Good week.
Planned Monday off because I was beat up, and I had done 35k the day before. So that was felt decent Tuesday. I ran a little bit on the treadie, horrendous weather, and then I went out and ran outside, ran along the beach for a bit actually. Did like a loop along the beach, which is, I mean, the beach is never fun to run on. It's just a beautiful
Windy?
spot. No, it's sandy. And yeah, you just sink a bit too much. It's, the dog also gets absolutely filthy. So in winter he's in your house and it's just too hard to give up when you see a low tide. That was, so all up 13, 14k or something.
Doesn't that hurt your Achilles, though, running on the sand?
It's only...
Well, what shoes are you wearing on the sand?
Oh, I can't even remember what I wore here. Just normal shoes. I don't remember, actually. Yeah. But it's only a small patch here. But,
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk rocky, hilly tracks, that's just what this is. This is all rocky and hilly. And I can, like, if I had a beautiful St. Moritz-like gravel path, I'd probably be running on that. But unfortunately, the Australian bush doesn't really offer too many of those up. It's always a bit rocky.
Mulligans, mate.
Mulligans is nice, actually.
Beautiful.
Mulligans is nice. Yeah, I was impressed when I went there. That was good. Don't know about the fences. It feels like you're in a prison, though, at Mulligans.
Oh, it's like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, protect the wildlife.
Yeah, at this joint, Izzy in
Cam
Canberra.
Myers is a wildlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's actually for, Moose. It's a wildlife sanctuary to protect certain species of animals.
Yeah, I get it, mate. Like I'm not questioning you.
All right, back to your week.
Yep. So did a workout the next day. This was actually a mid-morning workout because I have peer on Wednesdays and I do the drop off. So drop her off, drove out to this road called Forest Road. It's relatively flat. I felt garbage this day. And so I ran to heart rate, which I was supposed to. The heart rate I go off is not to science. It's just based off an intuition of that this is a heart rate that I probably should stick to if I don't want to burn myself too much. So it's a decent amount off threshold. And if I think like that, I don't get too angry at myself for going higher than I'm supposed to, which I have done in this workout. So I put on actually a new shoe that Izzy knows about and has run in. And it's the first time I've run in this shoe on asphalt rather than a treadmill. And so immediately I felt, it's a bit different on the road surface. Like it wasn't as stable as a treadmill. The treadmill does give you some like false impressions of a shoe, I think. And yeah, this was just slightly less stable than I was hoping for in this shoe. And I also was running with just the stiffest lower back and hips. It just didn't feel smooth.
Was this the shoe that you said last week would be your like race shoe or you'd wear at Gold Coast?
Yeah.
Did this session change it?
No, it didn't change it. It's still probably going to be that shoe. It was it's just a slightly undulating loop. I'm not even really going to call it hilly. It's definitely not hilly. It's 60 meters in 11K. It's just when you're at my fitness level, every single undulation changes your heart rate pretty quickly. So you actually notice those things.
And Moose, given the prescribed pace for Gold Coast that you have to pace at is like 3:24s and you're doing this at 3:34s and this one didn't feel great. Did the pacing come across your mind going, this maybe not as easy as I thought it was going to be?
Well, I wasn't looking at pace throughout the run. I was just looking at heart rate, and I just turned at 20 minutes because it was a 40-minute tempo. And I was hoping that I'd see something closer to 3:24 when I got back. So, yes, I did think, okay, I got to find 10 seconds a K here. But, this is practice, Croaks. Like Izzy said, we're not doing workouts to look good here. We're doing workouts. The heart doesn't care right now.
That's right.
I got 2 weeks left. I am going to be flying in 2 weeks. My hip is going to feel brilliant. My back's going to loosen up. And
what drugs are you going to take?
So actually, this actually had me worried. So we'll get onto my drugs later. I wasn't happy with how the body was feeling here. So I decided I should start taking some anti-inflammatories. Just maybe it will help, maybe it won't. So I instead of just taking 1 or 2, like I just did a prescribed course. And when I say a prescribed course, like I did the maximum recommended off the box. And things started to feel better. So the next day, ran an hour, and then I did a treadmill workout on the Friday because the treadie really looks after my back. There is something about it. It must be how flat it is or how even every footstep is. But I just get a better result body-wise from the treadie. So I ran 10 minutes at threshold, then 5 by a minute hard, minute standing off the treadie, and then 10 minutes at threshold to clear the lactate, just kind of like how you were talking about it, Izzy. Just feel better after accumulating a bit. And I decided, like, I got a lactate measurer. I've got heaps of strips left. I might as well have a crack at just seeing where I'm at because it sort of interested me after that long tempo. I really should have taken it out and just seen where I was after 40 minutes. Because if I was at a high lactate at that sort of heart rate and pace, it would have worried me a little bit. Anyway, it was 3.4 after a minute, and those minutes were run fairly hard. Like I haven't really got the treadie accuracy to tell you how fast it was. I'd probably say it was at about 5K effort. That's what I would have said. And then, so that's a fair bit of lactic for just doing 5 by a minute. And then 10 minutes, got it back down again. And I just stuck the heart rate for that at around threshold. So I reckon another 10 minutes, it would have been back a little further down and I would have been happy. It's not really telling me much. It's kind of just like another metric to look at. I don't understand it that deeply. Just know that I think you could run a marathon around 2. I believe that's sort of what I've read. So if I did that 40-minute run and I had a maybe measurement around 2 or something, then that would probably give me confidence that I was working at that intensity.
Well, it looks like your heart rate was similar for that 40 minutes to where you were in that second 10-minute rep on the treadmill.
Yeah. It's just I felt so bad through the hips that day. I felt like the gait was contributing to my high heart rate because I just wasn't smooth. Like it was a real labored movement.
It's amazing, isn't it? When your body's tight and stiff, like your efficiency is just lost. And that's why your heart rate then climbs because you're just not efficient.
Definitely. Yeah. It's when you're covering it well is just a very good call by you. Like, I'm not sure if you came up with that or you pulled that from someone else, but every runner knows what it feels like to cover it well for a run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
you hit the ground, you bounce off, you're like, it's just effortless.
The brakes are on and the heart rate's low.
I remember that feeling maybe 7-8 years ago.
Been a real while. Yeah. Yeah, you're not.
Right. I don't have it that often.
I reckon you might have it a bit more than
me. You get about 180 kilometers a week of it.
Just another hour the next Saturday, and then on Sunday, we got out to a slightly flatter run, Paraparat. Now this was cold. I know there are a few like Strava posts out there complaining about the cold. I saw Rob Wilson carries on a lot, doesn't he? For a bloke that lives in Canberra, that bloke carries on.
Do you know it was Saturday morning though? It was -7, felt like -10 here.
That is actually
Wow.
pretty cold.
Did I mention it's 26 degrees and sunny here?
Yeah. I think my back would love that. I'm that old guy that's going to retire in the bloody Bahamas or something. Yeah, this like I had gloves on and my fingers were numb and my toes were numb in my shoes. That we don't get that cold here. So 1 feels like 0. That's cold for us. I imagine, I'm not sure what you're doing in Canberra to protect your foot. You're wearing thick like merino socks?
I don't know. I don't get out when it's -7.
Yeah, fair enough. So just on the medication stuff, I don't know how much I should go into this, but last time I went to the doctor, he prescribed me a muscle relaxant drug for when my back was really bad and spasming. And I thought I'll just take that because I've been getting like, it really is a lot of tightness through there. And I just started to feel like real loose again. And this is the first run where I've finished it. And I'm like, I could just keep going here. This is good. Like I'm running smooth. My heart rate's pretty low, like way lower than what I've had in the past. Like it didn't get up over 150 for the whole run, even though we went up a few hills. So I'm like, this gave me, I finished like last week, shit start to the week, good end to the week. So I get my confidence back on the Sunday runs. And the treaty stitched me up for a few K. So I was on like 98, but I probably ran 100, I don't know, 105, 110. So that's me.
Nice.
Good week.
What do you got coming up this week? Because I don't know if we spoke about it on air, but didn't you have like 37 kilometres this coming Sunday in your program?
I've addressed that. I've addressed that with the coach, and she knows. I told her she's on strike too. Like if she dishes out any more of that shit, then it's all over. I'm back to coaching myself. She lost the job. So this week, actually, it's 26K, which is a lot more reasonable. Not sure I even need it at 26K. We'll just see how it goes. I got a threshold. Oh no, I'm going to do some race pace stuff. This will be a good one. Do some pacing pace work on Wednesday morning. I'll go out on a road and do that just to see how it feels. Tell everyone it feels real easy, just so I don't get fired from the job. And then a workout Friday. Yeah. So all in all, that's me.
All right, I'll whip through my week. Definitely not as impressive as yours, Moose. I ran 42 kilometres. Kicked off on Monday, so this was my first run in 8 days, I think it was. Still wasn't I wasn't feeling sick, but I was having enough symptoms throughout the day that I wasn't 100%. So I went out for 40 minutes, averaged 441s. Heart rate wasn't too bad. Like I think it was like mid 130s, but for context, before I got sick, I was basically did the same run, probably like 426s, and my heart rate was in the 120s. So obviously the heart rate's a sign that, still not 100%. Jumped on the treadmill the next day at 12.5K an hour or 448s, did 50 minutes. Once again, heart rate for this, I think I averaged 139. And before I was sick, I was averaging under 130 at the same pace. I went to the gym that afternoon. I then took took the next day off. So I took Wednesday off, went out Thursday, did 10.5K, 434s. And then Friday I did an hour on the treadmill, same pace again, 12.5K an hour, 448s. Heart rate sort of similar, that high 130s. I was going to go for a run on Saturday, but we had Collis and Lily's hockey gala day. So that was from 9 till 12. And as we were driving home, because it was cold that morning, but we got into a pretty warm car. I had 4 layers of clothes on. So I had a t-shirt, I had a Lululemon running jacket, I had a Lululemon jumper, and I had a Lululemon puffer jacket. And I was still cold, shivering. So I'm like, this is I'm not 100% healthy here. I got home, put a blanket on, and was just starting to feel a comfortable temperature. That night, still had woke up just in pull sweat basically. I did go to the doctor on the Friday because I'm like, it's been close to 2 weeks. Definitely improved, but still coughing up green stuff. He checked me over and he said, look, you don't have pneumonia. Your chest sounds okay. You don't have a fever, but I'll write you a script for antibiotics in case you get worse. So I ended up not running Saturday. I took Sunday off as well. I ran this afternoon, and I feel actually okay when I'm running. Heart rate's a bit high, but there's just enough symptoms throughout the day that I'm like, this flu has just knocked me on my ass. It's like I get to lunchtime every day and just want to have a nap basically, and then have these sort of fevers, still coughing up some green stuff. So I think I'm just going to go and get the antibiotics and just start taking them because it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, don't be shy, mate. Don't be shy of the medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think you definitely made the right call there, because if you run again, you just keep putting yourself back a day, another day.
Yeah, and like I sort of made the call over the weekend as well that I'm like I was building fitness nicely to the point that I thought, okay, I reckon I can get through 25K at 2:24 marathon pace, by race day. And then the fact that I've missed 2 weeks now and won't probably do a workout till later in the week, this week, if at all. So I made the call over the weekend and I'm like, I'm not going to pace Gold Coast. I'm just going to get myself healthy, go up there, have a family holiday instead. So once you sort of make those calls, it makes it a lot easier to actually not go and run, because it's like, well, that's the only reason I'd be getting out the door, is to try and maintain some fitness for the pacing. So Moose, your captain, leader, one-man band.
I reckon we get Riley. In. He's going to be on the Gold Coast. I'm going to flick him a message soon. Actually, I was talking to him on Instagram or whatever the other day. Actually, talking about that super expensive treadmill you have. I said,
the Woodway, yeah.
The Woodway. Got a Woodway.
Yeah, we do. We've got it secondhand though. Very good deal. I wasn't necessarily planning on getting a Woodway because they're they're so expensive, but I'd almost bought a Precor or something else, and then the secondhand place that I was buying that from was like, oh, we just had a secondhand Woodway come in stock, and yeah, we got it for a fraction of the price that it's supposed to be normally.
Yeah, it's when you get an opportunity. Sorry, I'm trying to do a stand up. I'm trying to do a stand up test thing, but it's not working. Yeah, when you get a chance to buy Woodway, you do it if you can afford it.
Funnily enough, I actually haven't even run it yet. We've had it since September last year, and I never run on the treadmill. I always think, oh, I might run the treadmill. It's a bit shit weather, and then I always just go outside.
Yeah.
But now I'm hearing you guys talk about the treadmill. If I was at home in winter, I'd for sure be on the treadmill for my doubles. But I guess I kind of missed that bad section of weather.
Oh, Moose, I reckon you'd love this. One of the highlights of my week was Brady getting on our chat, trying to sell us how good treadmill sessions are. It's like, mate, we've been doing these for a long time. You don't have to sell treadmill to us.
Yeah, no, Brady, he did we address where Brady is right now?
Well, I said in the intro that he's not on the show because
in Paris.
He's flying tomorrow morning or tomorrow. Okay. So I'd imagine tonight is like kid before Christmas. He won't be. He's so pumped. Julian, have you listened to his pump up piece about faith?
I saw it come out, and I was like, "What is this?" I had no idea this was happening. So
he did a very good job on it. Okay. Have you changed your tune in the last week? Do you have faith in faith?
No. No.
What
about you, Izzy? What's your prediction for Faith Kipyegon?
I feel like it's going to be similar to that first iteration of the breaking 2, where it's it'll be so close, but just not sub. And then, it might give an opportunity to still get a lot of marketing out of it, and then do another situation where then they do end up getting it. But look, I wouldn't put it past to the 3:49 or whatever it was last year. That was pretty unbelievable. And if with all these situations, the paces and everything that's going into it, it's going to be pretty perfect. But I just still can't wrap my head around it. I just still can't wrap my head around a female running sub 4. That shouldn't be possible in my head.
She won't. So you don't need to worry.
Yeah. I don't know, but then things are happening all the time that I just I see them and I'm like, I can't comprehend that it's happening.
Yeah.
And so it could be another one of those things. It's just like,
For me,
wow.
it's hard to understand how somebody can take 7 seconds off their PB when they're already at the pinnacle and they've been at the pinnacle for so long, and they've run their 349 1500s or their 407 miles at Monaco Diamond Leagues, where, yeah, okay, they're not getting paced the whole way. They're only getting paced probably 800 to a K. But, like 7 seconds over 1500 meters
Yeah.
is a substantial improvement.
Yeah, for sure.
At that level. So anyway, Brady's locked it in. He reckons she's a certainty.
Yeah, good that he's got faith. You need that energy if you're going over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, should we thank some patrons? Who have you got, Moose?
I have Harry Clayton. Harry is a good name, isn't it? I like Harry. From Rochdale in England. According to his power of 10, he has run 1640 at the 2023 Sale Sizzler 5K in Manchester, 35:31 at last year's Dewsbury 10K, and 80 minutes at the 2021 Great Manchester Half Marathon. Maybe the 5K result there I'm going to take.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
I agree.
Oh, fairly even, but 5Ks stand out.
Yeah. Who you got, Izzy?
Got Ian Dunbar. So his Strava's locked down, but we believe that he's run 22:31 at the Hervey Bay Park Run and 47:18 at last year's Gold Coast 10K and 3:51 at the 2023 Gold Coast Marathon. So I wonder if he's lining up again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, not sure. All the best, Ian, if you are.
Yeah.
And I've got Ben Heron from Spalding in England. His Strava's also locked down, but I did find a power of 10 profile, so hopefully it's his. He's run 8:54 for 3K, 15:16 at last year's Podium Festival 5K, 31:42 at last year's Miles of Miles 10,000 meter race, 68:53 at the 2021 Cheshire Elite Half Marathon, and 2:27 at the 2022 London Marathon. Pretty sure he's the Group IT domain lead, data and reporting at Bacavor. They're global leaders in the fresh prepared food industry with 17,200 colleagues in the UK, US, and China. Izzy, have you come across that brand, Bacavor?
No, I have not come across that brand, but he sounds like a busy guy with still getting a lot of very good running in.
Yeah, it's pretty solid PBs there. So thank you, Harry.
His name's real familiar. I think, is he on a podcast or something? Or is he mates with one of the British guys off their podcast? I don't know. He could be mates with Clousey or something.
You're not mixing up Ben Heron and Ben Felton.
I was just laughing thinking about your mix up with the Bernard, the drug bust last week.
Oh, Moose.
Hopefully you get it right this week.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you looked up some guy, Moose. It was the wrong guy.
Oh, we don't know that's the wrong guy.
Bus.
We don't know that's the wrong guy.
He's 3 kids.
It's the same name from the same country, and he competes in the same sport. That's a stitch up, if anything.
It gets pretty confusing.
Anyway, thank you, Harry, Ian, and Ben for your support, and all the other patrons. Just recently, we've had the Berlin boys from 2023. They've recorded an episode last week, and I haven't listened yet, but the UK boys, they recorded on, must have been Sunday night their time, Moose, so that dropped today. So I'm looking forward to having a listen to that one tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Good.
You're always good. All right, let's get on to some running news. Not a lot of results this week, but with thanks to Axel Coffee, our race results partner and the secret to starting every run on the right foot, nothing beats a good coffee before hitting the pavement. So let's start with Paris Diamond League. That was probably the main event from the weekend. Men's 800. So Hoey did pretty much all the work, like followed the pacemaker. When the pacemaker dropped off, just kept leading everybody around. But Atui, he sort of made his move up the inside and got the win, 142.73. Hoey was second, 143 flat, and Bryce Hoppel was third, 143.11. Either of you watched this race? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I watched all of the Paris Diamond League. I thought that Hoey was gonna take it. But yeah, it was an interesting race. I think it wasn't quite as fast as they would have liked, but still, really good running this time of year.
It's amazing the amount of people that are finding a way up the inside to win races, or
Yeah, a lot.
people letting others run up
Yeah.
the inside. Which I remember back when I was, you sort of get taught tactics a little bit, and it's like, hey, protect the inside, make them have to run around you. But so many races we see now, people finding a gap up the inside. Why is that, Izzy?
I don't know. Look, I'm not one to get race tactics off. If you watch me on the track, it's not usually my best work.
Just go to the front and try and run everyone off their feet.
Pretty much. But yeah, I think that it's hard. Like, people are getting tired in the last 100, and it's often, you can sneak past. Like, we saw Sarah sneak past and get a second, and Cam do the same. And I think that you can people can be vulnerable in that last 100 because they are so tired. They're just trying to get to the line. Like in Oslo, I was just finishing off, and Callie came right past me, and I couldn't even respond because it scared me so. It just scared me so much. Like, I think you're not expecting someone to come past. So sometimes when they come so late, you can't actually respond.
Yeah.
They're coming inside, yeah.
Yeah, men's 1500. So Azeddine Habz, he ran 327.49 to break the French national record and become number 6 all-time. Fanuel Coech was second, 327.72, which is an under-20 world record. And George Mills finished third in 328.36, which puts him number 2 UK. So it was interesting race. Habz basically kept the pace going once the pacemaker dropped off. Coech sort of made a move down the back straight, went from probably 4th or 5th into sort of second, challenged Habz a little bit on the bend, but Habz was able to run away. Pretty incredible times. I think
that was the best race. In my opinion, I was watching that, and I don't know why, but I actually remember how just being shocked at the time. 327, it wasn't even a Diamond League. It wasn't even a Diamond League event. It was an added in event. And on the broadcast, they're talking about I thought George Mills could do something incredible here, but it was not a good run. It's he ran 328. He's a 5K runner who's dropped down, run 328, and he's gone second all time to Josh Kerr. That is a phenomenal run, and he's just run 12:46 or whatever last week. I thought it was I couldn't believe how much they undersold him on the commentary.
Even he was even he was surprised. The interviews I saw, he goes I normally have a fair idea of where I'm at, and I'm normally not that surprised by my results, but this one actually did surprise me.
Actually, I thought, on the topic of him, I thought it was a really good interview on Athletics Weekly on Instagram. It was a very short interview, but pretty much they asked him what had been such, why he had such good performances this year, and he was just consistency and hard work, and having a really good team around him, and giving credit to the 6 or 7 people in his team. And I just thought that was such a good reminder for anyone. He's been very good for a long time, but he was it's my 4th year as a professional with OAC. These results are coming just from consistent years of hard work, and finally it's coming out. So yeah, that was a good interview.
What's the talk on the ground over there in the pro groups when they see a race like this? And could you imagine guys like Cam and Ollie Hoare see this and they're like, oh shit! When you see everybody run that fast, you're like, well, there's no reason I couldn't have been dragged through to that time as well. Do you think,
for sure?
Do you think they sort of feel like they missed out?
Yeah, and I think sometimes that is the case. Is that we saw in Oslo that mile was scrappy, and it was still fast, but it was just you don't get that kind of clean run. And even we'll get to it, but the women's 1500 in Paris was it was a huge field, and sometimes you get these races where it's not the A race, but you might get a better opportunity to run sort of a good time. But yeah, you're weighing up a lot of different factors when you make these race decisions, and you don't know. This was obviously put on for Habz a little bit, for it to have a 1500 at the Diamond League at home for him.
You'd think it'd have to give Cam some confidence, though, given Cam finished second to this guy in the mile.
Yeah,
not that far behind, and this guy's run 327. So
yeah,
I guess that's the way
good confidence.
Cam probably looked at it, going, well, there's a chance that I can run those sort of times.
Definitely.
Men's 5K. This was I quite enjoyed this race, actually. So it was paced at world record pace, and actually Jude Thomas did a really great job. He went through 3K in 7:36.
PB for him, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
dropped a couple of like 60-second laps, maybe in his last 800 there. Kejelcha basically just kept going like on the lights. And he did struggle late though. Like he went from pretty much running 60, 61s. His last two laps were 64 and 65. So he did struggle a little bit. He did win the race though, 14:47. Bailu was second. 12:47. Bailu was second, 12:48. Blanks third, 12:49. Gressier got the French national record in 12:51. Just like it was good to see like he's human, you know what I mean? It's like so many times you see these top guys just make the lights, make it look really, really easy, whereas it was like the last two laps for him was an absolute struggle.
Yeah, I like that because you can relate to that feeling. And he like he had a crack, and there was a point like 2 laps to go where he was sort of wobbling into like the outer lane, like looking like I was like he actually might get past or not finish. And the fact that it came so close, like he must have had a 50-meter lead, and then it got down to 1 second. But like he held on. He was actually he's been up at Font so he was at the track on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So it's like funny seeing him in person and then seeing like watching the stream, and yeah, you do think these people are kind of superhuman, and to see that was kind of like nice in a sense. But yeah, it was a pretty amazing race, and actually my like flatmate here ran a South American record, 12:59. Santiago from Uruguay, so that was good to watch him run well too.
Then women's 1500. So when the pacemaker dropped off, Halem had a little bit of a gap on the rest of the group, but then by the time they got to like the bell, it had sort of started to bunch up. And then with 200 to go, it looked like one of 8, 9 people could have won it. Even like I remember seeing Georgia Griffith like on the bend. She was sort of making a move, and then like she ended up finishing 13th in 4:01. But it sort of goes to show that in that last 200, like or 150, how much things can change. So Chepchirchir got the win in 3:57.02. Healy was second, 3:57.15. She was making sort of a move up the inside. Halem was third, 3:57.5. Linden Hall was making a good charge on the outside late, 3:57.63 for fourth. As I said, Georgia finished 13th in 4:01, and Abbey Caldwell was 16th in 4:07.
How good is Linden Hall? How good is she going right now?
Yeah, she's doing really well. And like, I love to see people running like, maybe it's a bit biased because I do it, but like running well across distances and like not necessarily just sticking to their pet event, but like, yeah, putting themselves in different things. But yeah, she's going so well, like really coming into form. So it'll be interesting to see what where she focuses her attention to coming towards like the championships. But yeah, I thought she ran really well, and like it was a messy race. There are times where the field was spread across 3 lanes and Georgia was wide, and it was one of those races you watch and you just kind of like, ugh, just like gives me anxiety thinking about all the people around. And one thing I was thinking, reflecting on this race, is that like last year, a lot of the races, it's like, Faith and Jess running like 350, and then the rest of the girls trying to like break 4 or, run the qualifier or high 350s. But something's changed where like those like star 1 or 2 stars is not running, so it's not so fast at the front, but then the majority of the field can run 356 to 3 to 4 flat, and it's like more of the median is like better now.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, maybe that's why it's so messy, is because people can, like, these girls can all keep up to a K at least at that pace, and then it's just like, yeah. But yeah,
we're sort of seeing the same thing in the men's 1500 now. Like back in the day, you'd only have 2 or 3 guys that could sort of go with whatever, like with Jakob. Whereas now, like the amount of guys that are running between 327 and 330 is huge. Whereas it wasn't that long ago that guys like Stewie and Ollie were running those times, and they were literally fourth and fifth in the world.
Yeah, it's just changing, I guess. But I'm sure, like having seen Georgia in training here, like she can run a lot better than that. It just was maybe some tactical errors or made her move at the wrong time. But I do definitely, having seen her in training, like I thought she had a really fast one in her. So I'm sure it will come soon.
And last result from Paris Diamond League was the women's steeple. Cheretich got the win, 8:53.37. So that's a world-leading time and the sixth fastest time in history. Chemutai was second, 8:54.41. And Almayu was third, 9:01.22. So that's Paris Diamond League. Moose, a bit closer to home. New South Wales Cross Country Champs down at Nowra.
Yep. So this course is kind of iconic, isn't it? The Nowra course. I know all the New South Wales people seem to think it's the best course in the country, but most haven't been to Bundoora.
They've had National Cross there a few times as well.
Yeah. It's pretty hilly by the looks of it. I had a look at not a single flat section of the course, which is good cross country running.
It has changed. Like it used to be quite brutal out the back. There used to be a hill that you're pretty much hands and knees at the top of it, but they've taken that out now. So
yeah, okay. So let me just go back to it. Sorry, I was looking up something else that I'm going to chat to Izzy about in a second, actually. So in the men's, Luke Hintz, 32 flat, beat Tommy DeCanto, 32.06, and Hamish Longworth was 32.44. So the young star beating the old man from the same training group. Would have been a good battle out there. Looks like
same training group.
And they both run crew?
No, Luke Hintz is Kembla Joggers, Wollongong.
Oh. Who coaches him?
I reckon he's old man. So his dad and his mum were both like state champions, distance runners. So his mum actually won this event 30 years ago. The state, I think it was 30 years ago.
Sorry, that's my bad, Luke. I had him confused with the kid that Benny Saint coaches. Lucas.
Oh, Lucas Chiz.
Yeah, but he's down in Victoria.
Yeah, but I got him confused, didn't I?
Okay.
So that's my bad. Sorry, Luke. In the ladies' race, Bronte Oates, she ran 35.39 to beat Danette Sheehan pretty convincingly, 37.12, and Leyla Liakatos was 39 minutes there. Before we sign off, I just thought, why don't we have a chat about South Australian cross country and the state of that, because we always seem to bring it up. So there was 9 finishes by the looks of it at the last South Australian cross country race. Now,
yeah, it's not good.
It's not good, is it? And South Australian has a really good running culture. Like, we always look over to you guys, and you've got like one of the best squads, a couple of the best squads. I know you guys have fucking 8,000 people running around the park on a Saturday morning. Like, it's good over there. I reckon if you entered the National Cross with your strongest team, you're probably coming second to Victoria.
The blokes won a few years ago.
Yes,
I reckon they won the state. Yeah, they won the state title. Oh, sorry, the national team's title.
So how, Izzy, do you have 9 finishes in the men's race and 2 finishes in the women's?
Yeah, that's not great. And look, I don't want to throw anyone specifically under the bus, but I guess the organizational bodies probably could, do a bit better in some of their, processes of organizing events. And it's a hard one because, Riley worked for Athletics SA for 2 years in kind of the recreational running scene and tried to improve it, but it's just, there's some kind of gap that needs to be filled between like the recreational and the elite. And I feel like there's still this elitist mindset that like you have to be like a certain runner to be like a club runner running for a club and they just, this year was a really good move to blend the road 10K championships at the McLaren Vale, I think it was McLaren Vale, to open up, to blend a state 10K in an already existing road race, right? That was a great move. We talked about that for years, being something that just seemed like a no-brainer. Why have a state 10K with 10, 20 people when you've got road event happening a couple of weeks later where you could just blend it together. I'm not sure with the cross country how to fix that. But yeah, it just needs to be probably a little bit like easier to sign up to run for a club or to like run in these events. It just seems a bit too like, it's like, even I can't figure out how to register myself sometimes for the athletic season. So like to the everyday person, like it just is like too hard. The barrier to entry is just like too hard.
But Moose, it's not.
Need to find a way.
It's not just South Australia. I think outside of Victoria, cross country doesn't have a very good culture around the country. So I just looked up the New South Wales results from the weekend. How many women? Opens women and women between the ages of 30 and 49, do you reckon finished, Moose?
Open women and 30.
20.
20, yep.
And men were about 50.
Yeah, like, not bad, but still not strong numbers.
Not great when you consider like New South Wales is a big state and you've got getting 20 and 50 turning up to their state cross country champs.
Yeah. Often I know at least in SA, like I just know that sometimes like the calendar's not even out until it's like almost like too late, or like it's just not clear like when things are on, or like that's just my understanding of it. But yeah, I think mainly like it's just like the barrier to entry is like too high for the everyday runner.
And I think as well, Moose, like if you haven't grown up with that sort of cross country or you haven't grown up as a runner, it doesn't appeal to a lot of people. Like I remember I listened to the Berlin Boys podcast that they recorded last week. And like Jimmy loves running. Jimmy goes and runs in events. He basically flat out said like the XCR stuff doesn't appeal to him at all. Like that team signing up for a club and running for a team as part of XCR.
But also now like there are so many like, why would you like the guys that I train with, the guys that I train with in Adelaide, like why would they stay at Adelaide and do a cross country event that means nothing when they could go over to Melbourne and run the Albert Park 5K and get a good time and have a great experience? There's like more opportunities, I think, now with like good road races that it kind of like the winter season, you almost can't fit the cross country in because you're doing a 5K and then a 10K out of the Gold Coast and then this and that. And
so you think it's more to do with most runners, especially recreational runners, are more interested in going to a place where they can run a particular time as opposed to a cross country race where it's like your time's pretty irrelevant. You're just going to get a position.
Yeah. But not even the time, but like the experience, because, you go and you run it on these cross countries on the weekend, like there's no one there. It's like, you don't walk away with a finishing medal or anything. It's not like you don't necessarily feel like you've achieved anything, but you go up to, even go to Albert Park or you go up to the Gold Coast and you do a race there. Like it's a whole experience. It's a lot of fun. That's probably, yeah.
Do you know the reason why I did cross country when I was like early on in my running journey?
Wins.
No, not wins. It was largely because my coaches at the time, and this is probably a little bit of an old school mentality, is that cross country during winter builds strength, prepares you for the track season. So it was almost like a process of how to become a better runner. So winter, you're building all of this strength and you're doing cross country races. And I feel like that's lost on the current generation of runners.
100%. I love putting cross country races on my athletes programs as well. And a lot of the time I get like kickback for doing that. Oh no, I'm not doing that. Oh, I got this. Oh no, I'll do this race instead. It's super fast, looks good. But there's nothing better, I think, that as a runner to learning more about yourself than being halfway up a hill in the mud, coming 50th and with 3K left, but you're absolutely gassed and you don't even know if you make it to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
That's
and it does, and it does prepare you well. It does prepare you well for summer. So people should look at cross country as a process in terms of how to become a better athlete.
And I think that the best thing for that is to have like a team where you feel like it's worth getting a few extra places and finishing off that last hard hill, because if you can catch one person in that blue singlet, then your team might finish one spot higher up. Like that's the college mentality. That's why, people just rinse themselves in cross country for finishing positions in cross country. in the States. But yeah, we kind of lose that without the depth. You kind of lose that because you don't have a team. It's just you out there. It's like, well, what's the point? And then it all falls away.
There would be some volunteers standing on the course, like they gave up their Saturday, going, there are fucking 2 women running out here, and I'm standing out here in the cold. And I could
All right, if I'm home next winter, I'm not overseas in Europe, I will do the local cross country races again.
Pay the sport back a little. Pay the volunteers back.
All right. These results were brought to you by Axel Coffee. Don't forget, Inside Running Podcast listeners get 20% off their first online order with code IRP20. Start your day right with Axel. Now, Brady's not here for whispers, but Moose.
Yeah,
you have something. Something here.
He sent one through to me. Actually, Brady did sent one through.
Yeah, you gonna read it out?
Yeah, I was going to ask Izzy to do it, but I thought that could be. But I don't know. Do you want to read it out, Izzy? It's through Brady.
I think you can read it. You can read it out.
This was from Brady. So Seth O'Donnell, we actually had an entry for a Diamond League race, a 5K, I think. Like entered, but obviously didn't get there. So we were wondering what was going on with Seth, and we saw a first Instagram post in a while. Today, was it?
Oh, yesterday, I reckon. Yeah, he's doing training at Collingwood's home ground.
That's right, yeah.
And then did some hills.
So a lot of footy references in that post. He must have not made it to the race. Whether we don't know if it's injury or whatever.
I haven't heard anything until right now about this, so this is news to me.
Okay, well,
hasn't come across my desk.
Good poker face here.
My inbox.
No,
seriously, I have an open book. I would tell you if I'd heard of it. I was wondering what he was doing too.
There's a lot of people wondering, actually. A lot of people.
But like, I mean, Nick is for the better of athletics in Australia, and like he helps a lot of people out that he's not necessarily managing or coaching. Like he's always, like there's always other people that he's helping that you wouldn't even know about. So, I could have not known about that too, but I haven't heard anything internally from our group about that. Seth's always been a bit of an enigma to me. I've never quite understood what he's doing or known his sort of plans.
I think that's why we love him. But the other part of the rumor was that there was some discontent perhaps within your training group that Setho got a start at the mercy of some of others.
Yeah, see, I thought that note might have been that like it was organised by MTC and then like someone was annoyed. But
no, not that.
Okay,
not
yeah,
that.
right.
No,
okay.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't know. He could be helping him out.
No, I got nothing about that. Look. This is Brady's rumours that have sent through to me. So I don't shoot the messenger, but I just heard that there was a bit of discontent about Seth.
For sure. Like if someone had got a spot and someone else had missed out, like you hear that a lot. Like I was hearing, some people talk about like someone had dropped out of the steeple in Paris and, they wished they got a spot. Not within our group, some of the British people. And it is very much like that because, that spots are hard to come by.
Yeah.
It's a good sign though that he's back posting on Instagram. Must be going well again.
Yeah.
You got Moose on the loose?
Wait and see.
I've started to.
I've had a few already.
I've started to go back. Like I realize I need to be more accepting of the new wave of runners within our community. I don't think many listen. I think we've got the old school runners that listen to our podcast. I don't think we get the new the run crewers.
I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting because maybe they'll learn a bit because the amount of like this, especially this last week, the amount of dog shit I've been seeing on social media about running, and it's getting worse and worse. There was one about shoes and one particular one that is just, it almost brings me to comment. And if I comment, then I've been sucked in too much. But I need a burner account because this person this is the example of what's happened here. This person started running probably 6 months to 12 months ago, right? Now how long have you been running, Croaks? 52, 53 years?
I don't know, 20, 25, maybe 27 years.
27 years.
I've been running 20 years.
20 years.
Under nines, 30 this year. 20, 21 years.
Yeah, there is so much knowledge out there from people like you guys and all the counterparts that you run with, and those that have never made it to an elite level, like you, Izzy, like Croak's never made it to. So I'm listening to someone who's been on there for 6 months, and I'm seeing these big fucking red letters show up like, do not do this, or the green letters that pop up, do this if you want to run a 5K PB. I'm like, these tips are absolute shit, right? One of them was, this shoe is overpriced, and it was like one of the best shoes on the market for $250. I'm like,
No, it's not.
at what point,
Yeah.
what comes into your head thinking that you have any type of authority to tell people what to do? Oh,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And you know what? This is a good place for me to plug my YouTube channel, because that's one of the reasons I'm doing YouTube and I'm trying to be more in this space. Is I also am sick of people, posting about stuff and not really having anything to back it up. And I'm like, hang on, I'm a pretty good runner. How about I share some of my stuff? I think it could be useful to people to see the behind the scenes, to get some, insights, and maybe some advice and inspiration from me. So, you know what? People should try and just follow people like me who have some credibility and are also trying to put themselves out there.
okay. How long's the latest video? How long's
16 minutes? Yeah,
16
dropped
minutes.
yesterday.
All right, cool.
And it's behind the scenes from the Tokyo Speed Race. And yeah, it's actually come together really well. So I'm happy with that one, and I'm trying to put out my next video from like a full training week of footage from like Font-Romeu, and
Who's
what it looks
filming
like to
that?
train with me. I've got like a little like vlog camera, and so I just take it on some runs with me, and then yeah.
I bet the
Have you
guys
gone
like,
to,
you do this? You run like this? Please,
No,
please say no.
I'm mainly filming other people like running.
Okay.
Have you gone to YouTube school to work out like the do's and the don'ts in terms of like
I haven't, no.
what's the perfect length of a video? Like, 5 minutes, is
Yeah.
that too short? 20, 30 minutes is too long?
Yeah, I've got some people who've been helping me put the videos together. I didn't actually edit any of these videos myself. And I think we found like one that was done was 25 minutes, and I feel like that was just a bit too long. And so the person that I've worked with on this last video, we talked about keeping it like 15, around 15 minutes. I personally, like, if I get an elliptical and I want to watch something on YouTube, I'm happy to find a video that's like 30 minutes or under, but I wouldn't probably go for anything over 30 minutes. But yeah, I think 15 minutes, 15 to 20 is like the good sort of amount for like a long form video, but it's not too short that it's like just all over.
I like 15 to 20 because if I'm warming up for a session on the treadmill, it pretty much covers my warm up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll go longer. I'll put it on during the workout.
Yeah.
I watched this
Yeah,
video
okay.
about
I do not know how you watch YouTube while you're doing a workout. I couldn't do it.
I was watching a documentary the other day on the CIA as I was doing a workout.
Right. Very random.
I just have music
I can
playing.
understand watching like someone like ripping a session and while you're doing a session, but yeah, not sure about that. CIA.
You know what you have to put on if you're having a bad day, Izzy?
Yeah.
Chris Zelinsky running the American record in 26.
Oh yeah, true.
59. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That was it. And they used to have a mix. They used to have a YouTube clip that had the XX Angels was the
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it was
good song.
It wasn't. It might have been I forget what it was called, but it was like timed perfectly to when and they had the commentary in the background, and the commentators are so excited back then. It was Flow Track, and but no one's been able to redo that same video, and the current music shit compared to the old one. And I've actually, I think I went on Let's Run once and I typed in, has anybody got the old video of Chris Zelinsky with XX playing? And
did you find it? No
one wrote back to me.
Oh damn.
Sad.
All right, listener question. And now we know that a listener question is always brought to us by Precision Fuel and Hydration. And Izzy, I'm not sure if we've had you on since you were announced as, I guess, one of the Precision Fuel and Hydration athletes. So before we get to the question, I would like to know, on a weekly basis, what products do you use and when do you use them?
So all year round, I use the gels. So I would take a caffeine gel before a track session, pretty much straight after the warm up, before my Tuesday track session. That's like a bit of a non-negotiable when it's like a really hard track session, just to get that like top of caffeine and quick fuel. And then depending on like how energized I feel, I may also take one before my Thursday and Saturday session, but it's definitely like the Tuesday for the caffeine like punch. And then Sunday long run, all year round, I'll have a gel or more through the run. So on Sunday, I had one caffeine, one regular gel throughout my 2 hour long run. And then I always use the precision electrolyte tabs. So the 1500 ones, like the purple, purple color. Pretty much every day I'll have an electrolyte tab, especially when I'm like at altitude or it's a bit warmer. And then I don't use a drink mix like all year round. But when I'm doing marathon training, then I'll use the drink mix for my sessions and my long runs. But because it was a bit warmer on Sunday, I did actually get the drink mix out and put a bit in my bottle just so I could get. I intended on having a drink, but then we did a loop that we never came back past the car. So I just drank it. I ended up drinking a bit before and then a bit afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I use.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get to the question. The question is 2 times 40-minute runs on a day versus a single run of 70 to 80 minutes. When would you choose one over the other? And can you get just as aerobically fit and strong off 2 shorter runs versus 1 longer run?
I like this question. My answer for that would be I think you can get fitter and stronger off the 170 to 80-minute run. And I'd probably just say, 70 minutes is enough. Where I would say that the 2 40-minute runs is better or good is if you're someone that's struggled with injuries in the past or feels like they're vulnerable to getting injuries or, has a lifestyle that means that they're often really tired or underslept and it feels like breaking up shorter runs is better, whether that's like maybe shift worker or a parent or something, and they're forced to kind of do like, I don't know, 2 treadmill 40-minute runs because of circumstances. But I would say for general training purposes, I think you get fitter from the 170-minute run.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I was going to say injury risk higher running 70 to 80, but aerobic benefit more. The only caveat to that is that if you can string together 10 weeks doing 2x40s rather than 5 weeks
every day.
Yeah. So the consistency you might get doing shorter doubles could outweigh the aerobic benefit of doing longer singles. And the other time is when recovery is the goal rather than fitness building. So two 40-minute runs after a hard workout or a race or a long run, I think makes more sense than running 70 to 80, which adds stress that makes the run not so much a recovery, but added stress. So if you got to have a purpose to the day.
I can't believe how much a 50-minute run feels easier than a 60-minute run or a 70-minute run.
Yeah.
Like exponentially going over 60 minutes, like 70 minutes just feels like, I don't know if mentally, if it's physically, you just get into that like 1 hour of running and then, your legs get a bit more tired. But yeah, 100%. Like if I'm trying to, in marathon training, sometimes if I am like, it's not frequent, but if I felt really cooked and I had an easy day the next day scheduled, like I'd do 2 10K runs instead of an hour and 30 because something about just going just to get 40 minutes feels a lot more like you're going to recover.
I think as well, if you're doing 3 sessions a week, so you're doing your Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 2 40-minute runs probably helps you recover between those sessions. Whereas if you have Tuesday, Friday sessions, you can probably get away with having a longer run in those days in between because you still have enough time to recover. But then I look at somebody, definitely. But I wonder because I look at someone like Cam Myers and Cam very rarely, other than his Sunday run, very rarely runs more than an hour on a run because he'll often do the 2 by 10K on a Wednesday as his recovery. And, no doubt he runs well over 1500, runs well over 5K. Let's say 2 people are running 130 kilometers a week, but one of those athletes is doing more single runs of 70 to 80 minutes versus the other person's doing 2 40-minute runs on their recovery days. At what distance race is the turning point where the person that's doing more single runs beats that person doing doubles? Is it half marathon, 10K, marathon?
I think it depends on the type of athlete you are. Like, are you an anaerobic fast twitch athlete, or are you that longer, slower guy that probably benefits a little bit more from the longer stuff? So, and that's like, I made this real jump when I stopped running 14Ks as my single and made it 16K. And I know that sounds like ridiculous, but that was the difference between like an hour 2 to 3 to 73 to 75 minutes. And that just, it created so much more strength. And I was doing that maybe 3 times a week. And then obviously you're still doing your workouts, but that extra 10K for the week, it's not like adding an extra run. It's way more beneficial than that for me. Like you said, exponentially gets harder. And I think you get exponential gains by doing that if you can handle it.
I agree. And funnily enough, like in 2023, before Valencia, and like that was a big breakthrough for me to run 223. I changed my hour runs all to 16K. Like my easy days were 16 and 8, versus like 13 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that it just added that extra layer of strength. And if you can make that your easy day, then it all kind of has a roll-on effect.
It's the old school, isn't it? It used to be 10 miles and then
5 miles.
5 in the Arvo.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out what the goal is. Because like right now, like I would happily go and run 90 minutes on a Wednesday here. But I know it doesn't. I just need to get the hour done and then move on to recover for the Thursday session. Sure, I'll probably get fit. I'll probably get that fitness from doing 90 minutes, but over time, cumulatively, I'll just get more tired, and my sessions will probably just flatline or get worse. So it's what you're aiming for at the time.
Good question and well answered, team.
Yeah.
Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, visit precisionhydration.com and use the code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order. All right. What's coming up? Well, we have the sub 4-minute mile attempt by Faith Kipyegon. That's on the 26th of June, which I believe will be early Friday morning our time. And there is a stream, I think, on the Nike social media and also on Prime. On
live
TV
stream on Prime?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought they were, so that's locked in. I thought there was a bit of a window where they were going to could shift things around if it was terrible weather or something.
I'm not sure. I read somewhere where the telecast starts, and this was like Oregon time. It was like 10:15 Oregon time in the morning, but Faith was expected to race around 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So maybe there is a bit of a window. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like, but our boy Brady will be on the ground.
He'll tell us. He's going to be.
Give us a time, Izzy.
4:02.7.
Actually, that's been like the most common answer. So
really?
Yeah, Len, when Brady interviewed Len Johnson, he said, I think around 4:02, because 4:02 would be a nice mark. Actually, I shouldn't give this away because people listen to it. But also, Jess Hull was also predicting, she said, I would love to see her go 3:59 point, but I think around that 4:02 as well.
Because that's 60 on the dot, isn't it? 4:02.
Pretty much, yeah.
I put it into VDOT 60.01. Yeah.
Yeah, I was out looking at the track. We got our Faith run a mile for Faith, I think it is called, tomorrow down in Geelong. And I was out looking at the mark. It's not far off the actual, it's not very far, but it could make all the difference.
9 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look far, but it is. It still takes a decent amount of time to cover that 9 meters.
Especially the first 9 meters when you're starting. When you're rolling through, it's like, poof, you're done. You're through 9 meters like nothing. But yeah, starting off takes a little bit longer.
Izzy, have you heard any details in terms of who the pace group's going to be? Because I heard rumours that Stewie was going to do it.
Stewie's doing it. Yeah, he's doing it. He left Fontenay yesterday morning to head to Paris. I know that they do like 4 days of like training or like whatever preparation beforehand. I think maybe what's the guy's name? Nielsen? Nils?
Oh,
Nils?
Niels. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he might be one of them as well.
I
But
saw,
other than that, I can't recall. Yeah.
I saw Craig Engels was heading to Paris as well. So I'm not sure whether
Yeah.
Craig Engels will be
Oh,
involved.
yeah, probably. That would make sense.
Yeah, anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Are you going to get up early, Moose, and watch?
What time did you tell me it was?
Well, I reckon it's going to be like 4 a.m. our time.
Friday.
Something like that, yeah.
Oof.
I got to get up early that day anyway. So, yeah, I probably will.
All right. Only other thing, coming up, I'm actually interviewing Ed Marks on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that because Ed's a guy that we've spoken about a lot on the podcast, but I really don't know much about him because he doesn't seem to have much of a presence on social media. So, and he's absolutely gun at cross country. Like doing some of the research, I'm like, he's good.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's felt like a real like he's right there, kind of up and coming for a little while. And I wouldn't say like he still has some really great performances, but I still don't know much about him or like where he's going, or like what direction he's kind of going in. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear more about that too.
Yeah, so that'll be out later in the week. Moose, what do you got coming up this week?
I'm going to the Past Players Day at the Anglesey Footy Club this week. Guest speaker on a panel.
Are you?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So that is returning home. I kicked 11 there one day, and I gave 2 off too.
You're on an honour board there somewhere, aren't you?
Best and fairest board.
Yeah.
Not much space for anyone else, really. After cover all my best and fairest back then in the under 15s.
And
15.
We've got that 5K coming up. Any other races locked in?
Yes, I've got 3 more weeks here in Fontenay. Got that race in Liège, and then it's all a little bit up in the air, to be honest, from there. I think that will be like the time to make decisions about what's next. But I won't be home until late September. I know that for sure. So our whole group's staying overseas. I know some of the on group, like they've gone home now for a couple of weeks and then come back again, maybe. I think same with Linden and Abbey, might have gone home for a couple of weeks and then coming back. But yeah, we're just locked in over here for the 4-month trip, which enjoying. And we'll keep you updated on what's coming ahead.
Yeah, well, all the best for the rest of the season. And thanks for being so generous with your time. I know our listeners love hearing updates from you. So yeah, thanks again.
It's always great to come on. It just means the downside is that I have one less podcast to listen to next week.
Well, you don't listen to your own podcast.
No, I can't. I hate listening to my own voice. You might like it, but I don't like it.
I like listening to your voice, not my voice.
And Moose, we'll be back next week. Hopefully Brady will be back in charge for episode 400.
Big one.
Yeah, he's not loving being off this show. He's a real control freak. He's in the background right now asking if we've done everything right. And he's unsettled.
All right, team. Well, thanks again. All the best, Izzy. And Moose, chat to you next week.
Want to make your next race day the best one yet? Well, dialing in your nutrition strategy is one of the most effective ways you can do that. Luckily, our show sponsor, Precision Fuel and Hydration, offers you the chance to do this in the most effective way possible. Book a free consultation with their team to fine-tune your fueling plans. Emphasis here on you, as they offer tailored advice based on your circumstances and the race you're taking on. They're there to help you achieve your goals all year long, and as mentioned, this service is free of charge and a great opportunity to ask them any questions you may have about fueling and hydrating for your race. No question is too daft for them. We've loved Precision for a long while, and this free service is another reason why. Use the link in the show notes and use code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order and start smashing those goals today.